I genuinely think like we will move on from Jadeja very soon.
That's what I want to say with Jadeja. At least batting, bro. Like, bro, his batting super lazy. The thing is, if you let him decide, he wouldn't want to leave. I mean, I think it should come down to the coaches saying, time to, step down.
Adi is one step away from saying leave cricket before cricket leaves you. I feel like the balance of the team itself is like, not there. Like the New Zealand team that had qualified for the World Test Championship final and beaten India, like the spine of that team was something else entirely. Like whether be it pace bowling attack, whether be it batsmen on top of their game, like I feel like they're lacking on both the sides.
Hey everyone, welcome back to SportsKhabri with me, Radhi and Rishi. And yeah, just a lot more cricket and for the rest of the year. It's India, New Zealand, the next big test series coming up. Of course, going to decide where India finishes in the WTC standings. It's an important series before India travel to Australia for those 5 tests as part of the Border Gavaskar Trophy. So important games, guys. 3 tests, but many would say that India go in as strong favorites. I think into this series after New Zealand were very, very underwhelming against Sri Lanka. Um, that sort of again, I mean that it ended 2-0 in favor of Sri Lanka. It's something that we haven't seen like from the New Zealand side for a long time, right? Like they haven't been so underwhelming, yeah, across departments for a while. But we're going to discuss India New Zealand. Rishi, bro, first thing, like let's start with New Zealand. We'll get to India. What do you make of this New Zealand team, dude? Because it's to me like again when I was watching that series against Sri Lanka, very 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 spin friendly tracks. It looked like they just don't have the top order to cope with it. Kane Williamson was not at his extreme best, although he was good. I thought him and Rachin Ravindra were the two best batters for them. But yeah, what are you looking for from this New Zealand team? What do you think is lacking or in this New Zealand team? Because for me, the balance also is very weird in this team. We'll get through that, but yeah, let's start off.
Exactly, like you said, Rahul. I feel like the balance of the team itself is like not there. Like the New Zealand team that had qualified for the World Test Championship final and beaten India, like the spine of that team was something else entirely. Like the pace, like whether be it pace bowling attack, whether be it batsmen on top of their game, like I feel like they're lacking on both the sides. And when they're traveling to the subcontinent, if your batters are not coming down and killing the balls before it turns, before they're able to play, and if their spinners are not able to get into the game, then I think you can't really give them a big chance. Like all of this is accumulating for them at the wrong time, like with their pacers moving on, with their senior teams pacers moving on, and Saudis also getting old. They're going to heavily depend on Henry and Sears for pace. And I think the good part for them is that the silver lining for them is that these 3 games, that one's happening in Bangalore, one's happening in Mumbai, one's happening in Pune. So they're not the orthodox rank turners that India would usually offer, like your Chennai pitches, which would like Ashwin would come in like before the ball is even semi new. Like the ball is it's gonna be brand new red ball and Ashwin's gonna come from one end. Like I don't think that's gonna be the case. Like I feel the Pacers will have a little bit more to offer. But at the end of the day, if they can't figure out the pitches, if they can't adapt to the conditions, if it's gonna be another Sri Lanka, then I don't think it's gonna last even 5 days. Like New Zealand really have
Yeah,
to like regroup and adapt to the conditions as soon as possible.
you're right. I think like one thing that they have an issue with is their fast bowling. I think especially in India where the ball's not going to move laterally. Um, the need for somebody like a Saudi is very like it's almost non-existent. I think. But he is going to play because he's the captain. So it's a very weird position for them because Saudi is going to play, and then you have probably two more seam options. Will O'Rourke seems to be that one guy who's sort of established. He's going to play too. Matt Henry is probably the third choice, I'm guessing. But going to be very interesting, Adi. Like, what do you think, dude? Like, because we've seen in the past couple of test series in India, like it hasn't been like ranked turners. We've got like turning wickets, but at least for the first day or day and a half, there are runs to be scored. So for me, I think toss majorly like will affect these games. You when you bat, I think it's simple, but uh, yeah, dude. Like from New Zealand perspective, what do you think? You think that these guys are not looking as good as they did a few years back?
I mean, yeah, firstly, I think Tom Latham is the captain, right? Like, he's the one who's going to captain the side.
Saudi is a captain now, or
No,
he captained the Sri
Latham,
Lanka side.
he's the,
The
Yeah.
squad
now,
announced was Tom Latham captain.
Okay. Fair
yeah,
enough.
so he's the full-time captain. So again, it's the first time he's going to lead the country full-time as a proper
Mhm.
captain. So I think a lot of his inputs will start coming into the team. But yeah, it's early days for New Zealand in terms of they're going through a huge shift. A guy like Kane Williamson stepping down from captaincy, you're always and losing your one of your greatest bowlers in Ken Bolt. You're obviously going to find it very difficult for them. But I still think, bro, looking at this team, I still think they have very good underrated talent. Maybe one part is I don't think these guys have played enough international cricket all over the world. Like you look at these guys, I just feel like New Zealand is one of those teams who just I don't remember the last time they played outside New Zealand. Like anytime I see them playing test match, majorly it's in New Zealand. Majority of the time, sometimes it's just in Australia. I just don't remember them going out a lot, playing a lot of test match outside. I think that's one thing they need to start changing slowly, in terms of at least this crop of groups, like the players who are coming up, like Will Young, like your Sachin Ravindra, all these guys need to start playing test matches outside. The thing is, again, I do believe batting is going to be very important because, the look at the way I feel like you look at the India Bangladesh game. If the test match goes well, like if you're able to play, the spin, if you're going to play a certain type of cricket, you can have a test match there because the way India played Bangladesh, even though Bangladesh had the spinners, India were able to go right from the beginning and play it easily. Like they were able to navigate it easily. A lot of times when they got out was two silly shots, to be very frank, right? Even though the ball was turning a bit, the India Sri Lanka game, I think the Indian batsmen, tackled it very good. Like they were a bit aggressive. They put pressure on the bowlers. I think this is the first time I saw if you put pressure on the spinners in a test match in India, they can actually get a bit found out like in terms of get smacked for runs. And I think not fully adapt to that style, but if you have that mindset of okay, I can attack a spinner, I can play the spin, right? I think you can start scoring runs, and if you slowly start scoring runs, any player can find their feet and score runs. That's what I've been able to see. If
Mm.
that is what New Zealand can do is a different thing because I just don't think these guys play enough cricket outside their
Yeah.
country. That's the thing. Like coming to Sri Lanka, I think it was a big test for them. The second test they lost even on follow on. They were not able to clear whatever
Yeah.
should
Lost
have.
by an innings.
And that's the thing. I don't think they have enough experience, bro. Just the amount of experience these guys have played, especially outside, again in conditions like in India, etc. Like, I think it's going to be very tough for them. At least for them, it's going to be a learning curve for them. In terms of
100%. India go in as favorites for sure. I think the only person who I was really impressed with against Sri Lanka was Rachin Ravindra. From a batting perspective, he looked good. He looked like he was fine with the turning ball. He wasn't getting caught out too many times. Apart from that, I just think New Zealand's spin attack is just not as good as India's. They've got two left arm orthodox bowlers. You've got Ajas Patel, and then you've got Mitchell Santner, and then you've got
Rachin,
yeah Glenn Phillips, maybe a little bit of off spin. So that's about it, and it doesn't look very threatening to me. So I think that's that with New Zealand. India, dude, Rishi, you happy with India's performances against Bangladesh because important three tests for India as far as WTC is concerned.
I mean, for sure that uh, these three games are going to seal whether, like, I think pretty much if we can see through the series, like our place in the finals is pretty much confirmed. So we're going to look to either like close out the game, like close out the final championship final berth either by this series or early towards the next series, the border Gavaskar Trophy series. So, and from what I could see, like the last 5 day or 4 day game that happened in Chinnaswamy was probably Duleep Trophy, right? And Duleep Trophy,
Yeah.
you could see a lot more pacers. Like I remember Yash Dayal, Mukesh Kumar, all these bowlers coming in and bowling like 20 overs, and then their spinners were bowling like maybe 6 overs, 5 overs. and all of them were getting they were hitting the deck properly, and one of these balls they'd keep low, but the rest were having like decent movement,
Yeah,
decent
yeah,
bounce. So
exactly.
at least the first test is going to give like, for if anything, New Zealand are going to have their best chance, I think, coming in the first game, because it's going to be a fairly even bounce. It's going to carry nicely to the keepers. Their pacers should and will hopefully make a good use of it. But that being said, it's going to play right into India's hands as well. Our tail is up. Our batsmen are like, looking good. Our bowlers have always, we have the players like Bumrah, like your Siraj. Akashdeep has come in brilliant form. The way he's nipping it right around the corners. Like, if anything, after Bumrah, I feel the most threatening bowler right now for us, pacer, is Akashdeep, because he's not that express pace. Like, he's not one of those pace merchants. But the way he hits the right areas. He just, the line and length. It's just pure beautiful to watch. And I feel if if anything, he can get a really good spell out of, like, the first 2 3 days. I think that's there. That is one avenue we definitely will exploit.
Yeah, and just again, just want to add to what you said, Rishi, like because what did we see, what we did see in that Dudip Trophy game, which is the first test in Bangalore for a really long time, was variable bounce. Like there were balls that were keeping low. So if you are New Zealand or you are India, you're looking at it, you're probably saying, "Oh, man, I just hope like it doesn't happen on day one or whatever." But it did happen on day one. So you never know. And yeah, it does look like there could be something in it for the quicks, at least for the first 20 overs, 30 overs. So yeah, 2 3 seamers should be on the cards here. Are they happy with India's batting? Because India's batting has been discussed heavily, the test batting order, because we've made few changes. No Rahane, no Pujara anymore, apparently, by the looks of it. So Yashasvi Jaiswal and Shubman Gill, one to open, and Gill to bat at number three. He got 100 against Bangladesh. He's had his fair share of critics, especially in red ball cricket. You think he's gonna like settle in like properly?
See, the thing with the batting, I don't know why, bro. Even though like they're all talented players, right? Like right from Jaiswal, Gill. To be fair, Jaiswal has proven himself to, at least in India, play. I mean, to be fair, even India, even in West Indies, he's been able to take those conditions and play pretty good cricket. When it comes to Gill, I don't know. I just feel like these players we have right now, compared to our previous lineup of having a guy like Pujara or a Rahane, I feel like we used to have like that guy who was a pure test player. Like I feel like every time India always had that one guy who was like a test specialist, right? Right from like Dravid, Lakshman. Then you had players like Pujara, Murli Vijay to an extent. Like these guys were all proper test players and they were able to play test very good. Right now, I just don't think there is one player like that. Like you go back to Australia, I feel like you can say the same thing. They have players like Smith, Labuschagne, who are meant to play test and they can play test well, at least in the batting lineup. And I go to again, you go to England, you have the Joe Root, who's like a prominent test player, and same thing with New Zealand, Kane Williamson, like test player. Like I just don't think, even though these guys are maybe a modern day test player, I don't know how to coin them, but it's just that I would still prefer a guy who's like traditionally a player who can only play test specialist. Like for me personally, I would always, if we had that at least one player like that in our team, I think it would make a difference. I do think we have that in KL Rahul to an extent, because KL Rahul, you go back to his young days, you go back, he was literally born. I mean, he was literally churned to be from the Test era. Like since his childhood, his foundations all were based on Test cricket. He played Test cricket a lot, and then he tried to modify his game, switch to ODI, switch to T20. Right. I think KL is that only player who's been churned out from a young age to play Test matches. And like he himself has said, since a young age in the KSA, he used to look up to Rabbit, try to play. His first thing was learning how to defend the ball. Just defend the ball. If, 100 times if you want, I can defend the ball. And I look at this Indian lineup, bro. I still feel like we're doing injustice to him. I don't really see it when I see Punt coming number 5 and then KL coming number 6. Like I just want the batting lineup to be solid, and I want them to have you know an order and the right order. I just don't think right now KL coming at number 6 is the best spot for him. I would rather have him at number 3 over Gill, me personally, right? Because just the way he can come and play test cricket, the way he can just defend the ball. stay there if I need him to. Like that's something I really want from a number three batsman. And Gill, I don't think he's been able to do that like quite well enough. Like overall, I still think Gill has not been able to get the number three role perfectly. I think if Rohit Sharma slowly goes out, he can come as an opener maybe. I think that's more suited to him. But right now, what we have, I still think KL should be the one who's coming number three, and maybe getting punt down at a lower order would be better. And plus, bro, one thing for sure is like Jadeja just like I just need him either dropped or retired, man. At this point,
Bro, he's good. 80s. Bro, he's pretty decent, bro. That big partnership with Ashwin also in last game. So
bro,
he's
but
not.
still,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think that one partnership against Bangladesh over the past 3 years of his batting performances, like not even his batting, I feel like even his bowling, I think that's also regressed over time. I feel like Akshay Patel playing Test cricket should become a norm and should be normal for us Indians. Because the way Akshay Patel played against England, he was very clutch at a lot of situations, and he's been that for the past 2 years. Like since he came in last year, pretty much playing against the 2021 when we played England. Since then, he's come up and become a proper Test player, and I feel like he needs to get the chance to be the main second bowler to Ashwin. Like he's
mm,
good with the bat. I still think if Akshay Patel is there, we have a proper batsman who can play because he's a guy who's been playing cricket not only in red ball and white ball. He's consistently batting well and scoring runs. And I would rather have a surety with Akshay Patel. Like he has a high probability to score runs, and I think he can score runs at a good rate. And he's a good level batsman. Whereas Jadeja, bro, I just don't think the batting in him is gone, bro. Like it's left him a long time ago. Like you look at the shots, bro. I just don't think he has the interest to bat anymore. Like I just don't believe he's like a batsman anymore. So like I would
bro,
rather have someone like.
I genuinely think like we will move on from Jadeja very soon. Like it'll
But I
happen.
think the
It'll
time has
happen.
come. I feel like it should have
Adi is
happened
one
I
long
think
time
that
step.
ago.
actually, to be
Adi
fair,
is one step away from saying leave cricket before cricket leaves you.
I literally, that's what I want to say with
I
Jadeja. At
mean,
least
bro,
batting, bro. Like,
I think he
bro, his
will. I think it's
batting
done.
super
I think he's
easy.
almost done. Like he's close. But fair enough. I mean, like Akshar Patel
I
will be
mean, if you
coming.
let the thing is, if you let him decide, he wouldn't want to leave. I mean, I think it should come down to the coaches saying, it's time to step down
I
from.
still think he's a quality bowler, bro. I still think he's one of the only
See,
bowlers who can bowl six balls on the spot. Like, mm,
fair enough, but again, bro, to be fair, look at the games against Bangladesh. I don't think his balls were like. So that's the thing. I still feel like Akshay Patel just gives you more, like both with batting and bowling. I think Akshay Patel can match him to a level in the bowling side also. I agree, Jadeja is still has that quality in bowling and can score. I mean, get wickets. But I feel like I think I can get the same thing with Akshay Patel, but a very much surety with the batting, which is also important because
mm,
if we can get that next guy who can come and sit and bat, I would rather have Akshay Patel and Ashwin coming down because both of them can still bat more,
okay,
and that
fair enough.
that's
Fair
what I
enough.
would prefer. All, and I just think it's time for him to like sit down, relax.
Before the series commences, Rishi, what do you think? 3-0 India?
Yeah, bro. I mean, I don't know why. Like when it's come to games in India lately, there's just some level of security that we've had. Like
Bro,
we're
we
not
always
gonna.
had
It's not even.
security.
It's not gonna go close. For me, the bigger concern is like what happens in Border Gavaskar Trophy, what happens in the WTC final. Because like Adi said, we've lost two gritty warriors in like Pujara and Rahane. Like going forward, I feel we're going to realize their value like a lot more. Like you see all these players who are part of our squad right now that on their day they're gonna go and score big knocks, but who we've lost are the type of players when the situation called they would hold the fort down, they would grind it out, like they can just shut out from one end of bowling and hold the fort and not lose the wicket. I feel that is an aspect of batting that we've lost, and I don't know where we're going to get it from. And for test match, for test cricket, like I feel that is a very important factor, and we've had players like that forever. And this is the first time, like we've discussed this in the like some time ago, that this is the first time in a long time where I can't look at the batting lineup and be like, yeah, you know what, we're going to lose three quick wickets. We have XYZ batsman who's going to hold the fort and make it till the end of the day and decide that I'm not getting out. I'm going to see through.
Yeah.
I'm going to play the next day.
Yeah.
Like this is the first time it's been that uncertain, and we're going to need that. We're going to need batsmen like that if we're going to Australia, if we're going to play in Lords in World Test Championship finals. Like playing in India, like all these cracks are going to be covered. All these, like, we're going to have one player who's going to come and score a quick fire 200, and the rest of the batting lineup is going to be looked over. Like I feel these cracks are going to show up once we go away. So the games here, I'm like not that worried. Like at best, it's going to be 2-0 or it's going to be 3-0. And my
Okay.
bigger concern is who's going to hold the fort, who's going to play that long innings, like when like it's gonna come. It's not like we're all gonna hit like our top three are gonna score hundreds and like ease the weight off. Like right now, Ashwin's having to do that. Like Ashwin, with all due respect, he's a brilliant batsman, but he is not supposed to come in and grind out and play the whole day. Like that is not what his role is supposed to be. If that is what he is supposed to do, then that means the top order and the middle order is actually failing the team.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think my bigger concern lies there.
Interesting. Yeah, that's exactly I think what Adi also said. It's the fact that we don't have a traditional test batter anymore. Someone who can see out the day and just like bat for his lifetime. But yeah, that's what we've got. India, New Zealand coming up. First test in Bangalore, 16th of October. It's not too far away, and yeah, if you're
Man, are you
there,
going to watch?
yeah, man, I'm going to be there in the
Yeah,
ground.
like Adi and I are going to watch. Are you
Yeah,
going to watch?
I'm going to be there, bro. 100%. Yeah, so going to be fun. Going to be like an interesting series. Of course, it'd be great if New Zealand can give India a run for their money. But at the end of the day, just want India to get the 3 wins and secure that spot in the final before the BGT starts. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining in. Thanks Adi and Rishi. Like and share the videos. Subscribe to Sports Khabri. See you soon. Goodbye.